You're so used to doing all this.
All right, I'm here with Rick McGee. This is Kurt Frankum, and we are doing the Saturday evening general conference recap. I'm a voice that's not on the Twin feed very often, and Rick is a brand new voice. So welcome, Rick.
Woo-hoo! Brand new. Thanks
That's
for
right.
inviting me. This is fun.
Yeah, you're Springfield, Missouri. I mean,
Yes,
the
sir.
center of the world as far as
Yes,
you're
we
concerned.
are. Everybody here jokes that we are the buckle of the Bible Belt,
Nice.
and we're getting a temple.
And you're getting a temple. That was announced last conference, right?
Yes, it was. It's
Nice.
almost done. It's halfway up. So.
Oh yeah, you got
No,
like
I'm just kidding. They
oh,
brought it on trucks and started putting it together.
yeah, like Lego, a big Lego set, right? So
No, they haven't made any announcements yet.
nice. So how did you do general conference today? Are you like working in the yard, doing things around the house, or?
I ran a couple errands this afternoon. It's the end of the month and we're landlords, so just
Yeah,
making sure things are going good with properties. But other than that, yeah, I was pretty alert. Half the time I was like, anyway, good conference stuff. So
yeah, for
and it
sure.
helped that you called and said, hey, do you mind doing this? So I had to be alert tonight.
That's right. Yeah, I got to give you a little homework assignment. So we got to
Absolutely.
talk about this,
That's right.
and we got the short session, so that's cool.
That was nice. Yeah.
And I think this is sort of becoming a thing. I mean, it seems like more often than not now the Saturday evening sessions just sort of brief, even when everybody's healthy and present and
Yeah.
whatnot. So
Yeah, that was really interesting.
yeah, we'll take it.
Seems like a lot of work to me to put it all together to be there for an hour or whatever. But hey,
Yeah,
it's short and sweet, to the point, great talks,
and I really miss I sort of like the cadence of having, you did a priesthood session or a women's session or whatnot, just sort of have a particular theme. But hey, that's why we're not sitting in the red seats. It's not our call. So
Yes. And I'm very thankful for that with everything going on out there. I would not
yeah.
want to decide what to speak about at a general conference.
And another thing I'm noticing just with these 3 sessions, it seems like they're sort of mixing it up as far as the format with music. Like usually they'll, power through the first hour with different speakers, obviously start with some music. And then they'll sort of have a, intermediate musical number where, everybody's standing and singing there at the conference center. But now it's even like after 1 or 2 talks, 30 minutes in, they had a quick musical number. And so I don't know if that's something new or I'm just not remembering right.
I
But
like that. Yeah, tonight I was a little surprised because they had that music number in there, like final talk. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, here we go. I guess we're done.
That's great.
Yeah.
It was nice having the YSA.
Yeah.
So are you flying back? I heard you were out of town today in the middle.
Yeah,
of
I was in Orlando, but I made it back in time. I did listen to the afternoon session, and I'm editing these recaps, right? So I edited actually the first recap on the plane and uploaded it through the Delta Wi-Fi, which was a marathon, but we made it. So
that's good.
So tell me, Rick, about just this this session. Was there any talk in particular that stood out more than others, or quote like?
For us, Amy and I was just sitting right behind you. In fact, it's still up there. Kind of see
there it is. YouTube is paused.
Yeah, YouTube's paused back there. Sister, remind me how you say her name again. She's the first
Tamara Runya.
Runya.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've struggled with. We have 7 kids, and we've kind of struggled with being positive with them, even though there's some challenging things going on in their lives. And I want them to know that we love them and care about them. And that was one of the things we were both being prayerful about.
Because your kids are like young adult age, right?
Yes, our baby's 22, up to almost 30. So
wow,
yeah.
And I know a little bit about your story. Not all of them are necessarily overly active, but it's just sort of, and you're trying to figure out, you want to find a place for them and make them comfortable and whatnot, but still, share your faith when it's appropriate, right?
Exactly. And they're all, they know where we stand on the restored gospel. So
yeah,
but we don't want to be the ones always lecturing. And this talk really stood out to Amy and I both. We were practically in tears going, this is great.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. We just want to make sure they know there's a love here. There's a place here, regardless of where they are in their lives. So
yeah. I love how she said something to the effect of, I threw the list of I threw the list away, I think there's this pressure, right? As parents, when especially adult kids come and visit, maybe for a Sunday dinner, you sort of want to, hey, how you doing? Have you thought about going back to church? Sort of, go down the list. But I loved how she just said, just threw the list away, and she wants a no matter what type of love. And that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, that last towards the end, light of Christ for others to count on, bringing that out. She made a comment that was really, what do we do or say is it helpful or is it hurtful or something
Yeah.
to that effect? So I thought
Yeah.
that was great.
And I just love the whole concept she started with the overview effect, right? I think as
Oh yeah,
parents, and we're all, I'm in a different phase with my kids, having little kids, but we all experience this with parents or with loved ones, where it's sometimes hard to capture the big picture, that eternity's a long game, and it's so easy to focus on their mistakes or their poor choices in the moment, and to just sort of zoom out. I think that's just such helpful advice that Sister Runya gave us. So
yeah, that was powerful. And I've over the years I've talked to just in different callings how important it is for the sister to have a sister to listen to.
yeah,
So when we're reviewing the talks many times in Priest and Relief Society, it seems like the sisters are really tuned in when it's one of their peeps.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I know Amy was just saying how much more she feels like she can relate, and she
Right.
loved the brothers talks too. But it was
Sure. Yeah. And
so
I
I
think it
thought,
wasn't, I think a conference or two ago, I think we had one where there's just only one sister that spoke.
yeah,
I think it was last
yeah,
conference, maybe, but
yeah. I couldn't. I was going to bring that up. It was I meant to look it up real
yeah.
quick.
So we're at
Hey,
two
we're going.
so far, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
that's great, and I think that's super for the sisters. So
now I was surprised that when they announced her name, because, she's in a new young women's presidency. Usually when they, install a new young women's presidency or new presidency in general, the president of that presidency will speak first in general conference. But Sister Freeman, didn't speak first. And I think everybody's sort of anticipating her speaking. So it'd be interesting to see if she speaks tomorrow.
I would assume we'll hear from her tomorrow. I
Yeah.
have a I have a good friend that's one of the interpreters, so everyone
Oh,
every once in a while I'll text him or like today I was like, "Hey, you got a shout out. That was great."
oh,
But he
nice.
had already given me some insights on who's speaking and stuff. I should ask him that question tonight. But
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So
yeah,
um,
I liked at the beginning too, going back to the very beginning, the YSA choir. I always love those. I saw a few missionaries in the choir. That was awesome.
yeah. Yeah.
So I remember my girls when they were young always liked that.
Yeah.
Like
Mix up the
junior
choir a
high,
little
high
bit.
school age, they're always like, "Hey, there's some cute boys from BYU there."
Nice. Love it. Yeah, a lot of diversity in the choirs today. Obviously, the
Yeah,
first one being I forget how they framed it, but yeah, good stuff. Elder Saban had a strong, strong message about identity.
yeah,
Coming to the guy. I see some cool tattoos out there. I think we all do, especially tattoos are so popular now. And I'm always like, I almost want to ask him about it, but I don't know. I make it weird because I'm a, old school Mormon, as they say, but I'm like,
oh, you said
should I talk about their tattoo? I don't
you said the M word. Be careful.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's our podcast, so that's what we're doing. um, but yeah, he asked the guy about his tattoo on the back of his head and how he related to his identity. And I think I've heard that message a little bit, through these first three sessions of this feeling of identity and really connecting to our eternal divine identity, which is crucial.
Very important right now, especially the youth are just struggling with this.
Yeah.
Just knowing their, who they are and what it means to be a child of God. Yeah,
Yep.
he outlined five. I wrote down 5 different points. He kind of like lined out those 5 points, and that's always good for me when I recap things. I'll be like, okay, here's the
Yeah.
5 points.
Yeah, and I think usually like 70s usually have like 10, 11 minutes or something. And
Yeah,
that's like for somebody, I don't know, for me, like doing a 5 to 10 minute talk is really hard. I'd rather have 30 minutes than
sure.
10 minutes. So it's interesting to see how they accomplish that.
Yeah, how do you
So
develop these thoughts and points and be done in 10 minutes?
yeah.
It's impressive, definitely.
And then Elder Joni Koch, I think it is,
Yeah,
humbly talked about humility.
that
So
was. I really enjoyed that talk too.
yeah, just a good solid lesson on humility and understanding it.
Absolutely. I always tell my kids I'm a great dad and very humble about it. So the
Right.
message, I guess,
There's
I
so
need.
many there's a lot of dad jokes connected to
Oh
humility,
yeah.
I'm afraid.
Well, do you remember? I was one of those '80s missionaries, late '80s, when the Pride talk from President Benson
Oh,
came
yeah.
out, and you can use the P word in any meeting for about 10, 15. You're really proud. I mean, well pleased with our children, and it kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that was powerful. His message about being humble, and his stories were so good; it kept you captivated.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And then, let's see, I guess the only one
he's
we haven't
from.
mentioned is Elder Suarez, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I looked it
There
up.
you go.
He's from Brazil, also. So
Oh,
I thought
okay.
that was pretty neat that two of the speakers were from Brazil
Yeah, and
tonight.
then was it afternoon session? I think we had Elder I forget his name, but yeah, another Brazilian, a couple of Brazilians actually. Maybe we're four or five.
Yeah,
So
I thought that was great. Just getting the diversity in there, and
yeah.
you know,
Um,
anybody not from Utah is great.
hey, what are you saying? Come on.
Got to get in a Missouri jab. You guys always
That's
make
right.
fun of us every time it's Doctrine and Covenant season. We get made fun of on everything. So
Right.
church
Yeah,
history, those guys
the
run us.
execution order and
Yeah, we
yeah.
did. We ran you out.
And then Elder Suarez, just a solid revisit to, getting rid of any prejudice that we have in our faith community and whatnot. And I mean, it's, obviously reference to the woman at the well story, which is a phenomenal example of how Christ cut through prejudice. And so, anything stand out there for you, or
Same thing. It seems like there's such a struggle, and maybe it's a reference to, I don't know, things going on in the, not just in the U.S. but around the world, and politics and all the different challenges that we need to focus back on
yeah,
who we are. We're here to build Zion and be
right,
together. And I've been a real estate broker my whole life, and we when I was training agents when we were a newer company, and we'd always get to those sections where our code of ethics and the law that we can't be prejudiced against all these different groups, and I would remind all the agents, like, we're here to sell houses and just love people and teach
yeah,
them and get them into a house. That's how we make a living. It doesn't matter what all these laws are. Just love all these guys into a house somewhere.
yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
remind me of some of my training.
Yeah, I love the reference. And this, I recently toured the St. George Temple. It's the open house, and they made reference to the temple clothing, as Elder Suarez does. That when we go to
Yeah,
the temple, that's such a great way of symbolically becoming Zion. Is we all change into the same clothes, and
yeah,
there's
I love
you
that.
can't tell, who's whose shirt came from Costco and whose came from wherever. Well, I don't know.
Although
Yeah.
I feel guilty a little bit. I just ordered some white Vans. They're all white with white van logo.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, hey, put them on. Get to the temple, right? So
Exactly. Absolutely.
awesome.
No, that was so powerful. All that, I was wondering, wonder what the VP of Brazil said when he made that comment.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah. That's
just said
cool.
he was touring with VP and explained it to him. I wonder what that guy's response was. But
Yeah, that's cool.
a
Well,
couple of favorite lines, my probably right there. Let's see. I can assure you that the light of the new day shines brighter in our lives when we see and treat our fellow beings with respect and dignity as true brothers and sisters in Christ.
yeah,
Just
love it.
sums it all up. I love that.
Well, I guess we'll get some rest and get ready for two more sessions, and it'll be interesting. Obviously, I think they made reference that President Nelson his remarks would be pre-recorded. Makes me
Yeah.
wonder if there's any temple announcements that were pre-recorded as well, or we
Yeah.
have
Well,
anything like that coming. There was definitely you just sort of feel it, right? Like when the prophet isn't there, there's you can feel it, like just that support, that love that comes from our prophet. It makes for a different conference. But hey, glad he's at home resting and getting
absolutely.
recuperated. So
Want the best. Yeah, I was telling Amy, it's like going to ward council when Bishop's not there
yeah,
or the Relief Society president's not there. If those two aren't there, it's like, why don't we just cancel it? This
yeah.
conference.
Let's get. We'll be back in April.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah,
it's great.
yeah,
Obviously we all love the prophet and
yep. Yep.
want the best for him to stay and get rest.
Well, thanks for joining me, Rick, and getting your voice here on TWIM. And we got a few. I think that Matt and Melissa will be. I think they're doing the morning session recap, and then the Twin sisters will be doing the afternoon. And yeah, we'll have another conference in the books. So thanks for joining me, Rick.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite. Hopefully I'll be back.